Good evening. Can you hear me okay? I've got my mic in, but sometimes it gets a bit confused. How are you doing? Hope you're feeling good. I just want to hang around for a second just to see if you can hear me okay before I sit down. Excuse me. Thank you. So we just finished our express yoga that we do in the club. So I'm a little bit breathy and a little bit running around setting up for mood boost straight after, but it was good. We did some power express yoga, just 15 minutes. Normally we do a meditation straight after, but we're doing that later tonight. So actually it feels really good to combine your intention and your words and your affirmations and your transformation statement, or one of those things, with movement, especially like power movements and opening. So I'm thinking I might do that with you on Sunday. I might do an extra little mini class for you to experience it. Good evening, everyone. I can't see everybody's names because StreamYard asks you to give me permission to see your name, but I can see Marina, Diane, Andrea. Hopefully there's more people joining. So I'll just witter for a second until they join. I've been running through your comments from task 1 yesterday. I've got, I think, 2 more comments to reply to. So I was just quickly replying before we started tonight. Really, really interesting. Really well done. Hello, Joanne. Hello, welcome. If you haven't had chance yet to put your answers on day 1, task 1, post yesterday, you can search under topics, you can search under mood boost, you'll find it. You've got all week until Sunday to do it. So please don't feel rushed. Don't feel like, oh, I've not done it yet. Some people, you know, we're all different. You're on the mindset and you're like, right, got it, this is what I'm doing, this is what I feel. And for other people, you need to sit on it, you need to think about it, you need to mull it over, you need to journal about it. So go with what feels right. Evelyn, welcome. Pat as well. So yeah, so you just got to find your own flow, and that is what this is all about. Like we said yesterday, it's about self-awareness, checking in with yourself, and then making the right choice. Nobody can tell you what to do and when to do it. That is all up to you. And you know what? That is the beauty of it, because you are the master of your own life. And yeah, that doesn't always sit right with everybody. And sometimes you come across conflict. Sometimes you even part ways in some cases. And Marina, I know you'd left a comment on there, and a couple of other people, about people in our lives actually. And so I've popped a little blog in there for you to read, but you will find it on the website. It's called The Graceful Gardener: When Do Friendships Become Toxic? So I think it's a really, really good one to revisit if you've read it before. And it just starts you thinking, you know, as you make these different choices in life, as you start to go against the grain of maybe what your social group thinks, or even your family, it can be a difficult road. Not always. Sometimes it's just a case of people getting used to your new approach, your new boundaries, or whatever it is that you're doing. But it's very, very easy to slip into somebody else's way, even if they're a different kind of mindset to you, or body type to you, energy to you. And it's like, you know what? I get that we need to have a middle ground here, but at the same time, this is what makes me happy, and this is what I feel works for me. I'm willing to give and take and ebb and flow, but where is my limit? Where are my boundaries? Going off tangent a little bit, but at the same time, I'm bringing it back to today's subject. It's quite a practical one, so it's a little bit more like a workshop in terms of how you can really put this down and see it and start to make some decisions. And it's kind of in 2 sections. There's tonight's section, which is all about how you categorize your life, and tomorrow's section, where we're going into, right, what exactly are we going to do? So the task that we did last night can be sometimes a little bit, it can feel abstract. It can feel like, oh gosh, it's not really specific. You know, it's not like SMART goal or something like this. That's what we're going to come to. First, we have to figure out, though, what are we even feeling, and what do we want to feel like? We have to start somewhere. And this is why I say it's the baby steps. Baby steps will get you somewhere way further than you think, than absolutely setting this mammoth task. And as I said yesterday, either never starting in the first place, or starting but losing too much motivation because the self-sabotaging thoughts come in, and then we put these barriers up. We have these limiting beliefs, and that is what we're going to look at on Thursday, okay, when we work with affirmations. Good evening, Rue, welcome as well. So yeah, so we do these express yoga. We do a morning motivation 3 times a week in the club, and that is really where we reinforce a lot of this stuff. So yesterday we talked about the theory of the mind, didn't we? We looked at the fact that 88% of our subconscious, 88% of our whole mind is our subconscious, and 12% is our cognitive thinking. So we talked about when you want to rewire a pattern, it's 9,000 times more effective when you actually get into your subconscious. So 3 mornings a week, we go deeper, we go under, we do meditation, we embed our affirmations, certainly on a Monday morning. Wednesdays is Wednesday wellness tips, and we back catalogue that and we name them, so you can go back and you can get a tip for whatever suits your mood. And Friday is me kind of wittering waggy. I call it Friday Philosophical Thoughts, and I talk about what's going on in my life and I explain how I'm kind of moving through it, or if I even am moving through it, because sometimes it's just about time, isn't it? Marina, yes, please have a little read of that. I think it'd be really useful. So there's all sorts of stuff. We have 10 classes a week in there, some yoga and some breathing, some mantra, some sound healing and so on. But it's about that reinforcement. So Sunday night, what we are going to do is we're going to get ourselves to the point of having our main affirmations, our go-to power mantra, and we're going to take you into the subconscious, and we're going to embed, okay, we're going to marry the consciousness and the subconsciousness together. And then we're going to go on a journey. We're going to go on a visual journey. Don't worry if you're not a visual person. There's a different technique that I use as well. And we're going to go on a journey where you actually see yourself, the best version of yourself, okay? So whatever your transformation statement is, what that end result is, you're going to give yourself permission to see it, to feel it, okay? Now, once the brain and the mind can actually feel it, see it, you break down so many barriers of limiting beliefs. It's really, really powerful. So I'd really like you to stick around for the week so that you can build up to it, and then we can finish on Sunday with these power affirmations and maybe a little bit of a quick express yoga as well, if you like. Let me know if you would like that, and I will see about adding that in just a little bit before we do the actual mood boost. Okay. So yeah, the other interesting thing that came up for me was a lot of comments around I'd not even thought about some of these questions. And, you know, I'd not thought about my home environment, because for a lot of us, it's really important. Or I've not thought about fun and laughter. And I've replied to a lot of you on this one because it came to my mind, because I think sometimes we can get really serious, can't we? We can get really serious in our well-being to the point where we make it too serious, you know. And I think it's probably a trait of those of us that do overthink, because, you know, we plan, we think, we want to get it right. Maybe there's a sense of control going on somewhere, you know, maybe. But the side effect of that, I guess, is sometimes we forget to laugh. Sometimes we even forget to factor it in. And because laughter is literally one of the best medicines around, I try to kind of find an opportunity to laugh where I can. And I kind of feel it in my bones if I'm not laughing. So from that forward, I think, well, when do I laugh? Sometimes my daughter makes me laugh, sometimes she doesn't, obviously. Sometimes she makes me feel the opposite of laughing. But if she does something funny, you know, and I'm feeling I'm in a rush and I'm not catching it, I pause and I think, do you know what, that actually is really funny. And I try to laugh. I try to embrace whatever is making me laugh and really fully laugh. So yeah, oh great. So lots of people into maybe the yoga for Sunday, fabulous. So I thought that was really interesting. And also a lot of you were saying things like you didn't realise actually what you were thinking about some of these things. And I think the reason for that is we often try to be positive, don't we? Which is a great trait to have, to try and be positive. But sometimes it's to the impact of denying what we are really feeling. And when we deny what we're feeling, those feelings will bubble up somewhere. They will come out somewhere, whether it's in our relationship, whether it's how we feel on a day-to-day basis, whether it's the guilt for not having positive thoughts, okay? There's a difference between, you know, having feelings and suppressing them because you feel like you should be a positive person, or having those feelings and then going, right, okay, well, you know, I'm going to do something about this. Okay, what have we got here? Yes, it's quite hilarious having a 4-year-old. Yes. Rue says, I've been guilty of this in the past, getting too hung up on timings and doing everything too much structure. Exactly, right? And this is one of my points for tomorrow, Rue, because when we do something like this, and every time I do a retreat and at the end of it, I always ask 3 questions. And one of my questions at the end of a retreat is, what one thing will you do now? And it really freaks people out, including myself, because it's like, wait, what? I've got a list of 15 things here that I'm going to do when I get home. How can it possibly be just one thing? And it's really challenging because we want to do it all. But the problem with that is, just like I said about procrastination and reaching your goals, is that you either don't start or you start and you feel like you failed, so you drop back again. So I always give people 2. I go, okay, right, you can have one thing that you will now do and one thing that you will now not do. Okay, so this session tonight will help you to understand, get a little bit closer, reduce the overwhelm, and find out what you need to work on first. And tomorrow night we'll nail that, get that little bit closer, we'll hone it in. Oh, you're right. It is so hard being a woman. You know, it's like, it's amazing in some respects, and then it's like, what, on so many levels. But you know what, all of sisters, we get it. The sisterhood, we get it. And that's why we've got to laugh, right? The retreat that I'm running in July, it's all about perimenopause and menopause, and it's just like outing it and going, do you know what, this is what, you know, whether you've been through the menopause before or you're not even nowhere near there, all the different ages of women. And this is what we've missed, isn't it? A lot of what we've missed in the community is advising people and asking and going, oh my God, yeah, that happened to me. Instead of it being this closed kind of, and not just about hormones, but in general about being a woman, as you say. And when you start talking and you're really honest about how you're feeling, you will find that most other women feel the same way too. And that's what we really love about the club, because and the tribe, you know, and what I've loved about this so far is I've seen you all interacting with each other and supporting each other, and that's really important to me. That really makes me happy. So thank you for those that have supported each other. You've liked each other's comments or you've replied to each other. So when it comes to women, especially, I feel, if there's any men watching, it can also apply to you, but I feel that it's this time on your own and it's this time to yourself. And I think part of it is because we do think a lot, we do plan, and often it's because nobody else does and we maybe have to do it. But it is like this innate primal thing as well, which I could go on about, but ultimately we do a lot, don't we? We think a lot and we care. And so with those things in mind, you add on guilt and hormones to all of that. When do you actually get time to yourself? And this has become really important to me, and it's something that I talk about a lot, and I try to also practice what I preach, and it's a lot of what I talk about in the club as well. But one of my key phrases is my me time is for everybody else's health and safety. Because if I don't get my time to myself, someone's head's gonna roll. It's like it's a joke, but it's also serious, isn't it? Because it is about mental health at the end of the day. So if you look after yourself and you top up your fuel tank, we know the phrase, but do we do it? I don't know. When you look after yourself, you feel joy. So all this irritability that you're feeling, and trust me, I get it too, means something's out of balance. Something's out of balance. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. Okay, if you're snapping at someone, if you're feeling angry all the time, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling anxious, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. You need to step back from this and you need to ask yourself, what is out of balance in my life? Because this isn't who I am. I know this is not who I am. This is just a symptom of what I'm experiencing. It's some that kind of injustice, or I'm angry about something. Once you solve that and you look at that, you find that you lift and you come back to joy and you come back to peace. So my me time is for everybody else's health and safety. And the more that they see that, the more that people around you see you not only taking charge making the decisions, leading by example, but you'll find other people follow you. Now, they might push back at first. And sometimes when people push back, it's either because it's going to impact them or because they're actually asking themselves, especially if it's another woman or somebody who's looking up to you. They might say, but why? You can't do that because of this. And they may challenge you. But what they're actually doing is they're asking themselves the questions and the thoughts and the self-sabotage that they were actually doing to themselves. So, for example, you might say, look, I'm setting my boundaries and I'm not getting involved in that anymore. And somebody might say, but what if they think that you're a bad person? Or what if they say this? Or what if this happens? What they're really asking is, can I step back too? Is it okay to step back, or does that mean I'm a bad person? And when you actually turn around and you set your boundaries, and boundaries is my word for this year, then you say to yourself, I'm really sorry, but that is not my responsibility. In fact, my own responsibility is myself. I look after other people and I care and I chip in every now and then, but my mental health and my me time is my only responsibility. And yours is yours and yours is yours. And that's all we can ever do. And sometimes we add a bit more and sometimes we take a bit more, but it's not a bank account. You don't have to get back exactly what you've put in. Only you know if you're putting more in than what you're getting back. And that brings me back to that blog about toxic friendships or relationships. So we have to claim it. Nobody will do it for us. And this, at the beginning, you feel very alone in this. You feel very kind of, there's just me, I feel overwhelmed, I have to do anything, or being a woman, ... Then when you realize, actually, it is only me that can do this, a different kind of sense washes over you. It's more of an empowerment and it starts to get really, really interesting and really good. Okay. So yes, that's another thing, Joanne. Yeah, it's like this whole the dynamics and how dynamics can change and how we have to transition. Remember, I talked a lot about transition yesterday, constantly in transition. And the sooner we get a hold of that, the sooner it becomes easier. So, as I said, we'll come to self-sabotage and limiting beliefs on Thursday. Tonight, I want to talk you through something that is going to help you to see your life in a circle. It's going to be like everything is in this circle. So you don't have to imagine, you know, when your life just feels like you're thinking this, you're thinking that, you're thinking that, you're thinking, and everything's just scattered and all over the place. This will help you to bring it in a little bit. And from here, we're going to work out the how. And as I said yesterday, this is where what I love to do. You will give yourself so many different reasons why not. And those are the self-sabotage and limiting beliefs. What I'm here to do is, okay, but how else can you do it? How else can you do it? How else can you do it? And in fact, I can kind of, in a way, thank my Korean manager when I was based over in Dubai and I was working for a Korean company. It was very, very strict. And, you know, there were no excuses. There were no excuses. Probably a little bit too extreme, you know. But it gave me that mindset of going, oh, well, right, what's the solution? Where can we find a solution? We've got to work it out. We can work it out. I can. How? That is all tomorrow. But first, we need to hone in on the what. So I've got some things to show you. Right. Some of you may have done an NLP Life Wheel before. If you want to, you can go to, again, to my website. There's another blog that's all about how to do it. But basically, this is the verbal version of it. So you can go back there. And also on the Mood Boost part of the website, there's a summary of this. What an NLP Life Wheel is, it's how to categorize your life into 6 or 8 different compartments. Now, you're probably like me and you want to make it 8, but I think if you can try to make it 6 and make those decisions of how you categorize things, it's going to be a little bit easier for you. You might want to start making notes now, but I would suggest having a bit of a think about this. So I'm going to give you 3 examples. So you might be somebody that's got a little bit of this, a little bit of that in all areas of your life. You might be somebody who's quite career focused and less family focused, or you might be somebody who's more family focused. There are so many different ways to categorize this, and that's why I want to share you some examples. So, for example, and again, I'm not sure if this is back to front, so we'll read it out. Give me a sign, actually. Is this back to front, or is it, can you actually read it? So this is somebody who is a little bit more into career. They might not have a family, you know, they might have any children. They might not even have much relationship with their family at all, really, but they put it there on the bottom. under friends and family. Okay, they do consider their friends and family. It's just not a huge part of their life, right? There's no right or wrongs here. Let me take it back a bit. Oh, thank you for letting me know, girls. Okay, personal development is a big part. Career, hobbies, home, maybe where you live or how you have your home. Maybe you spend a bit of time at home and you really enjoy that. And relaxation. Okay, that might be one way to categorize your wheel, right? I've got another one. So this person is somebody who's quite family orientated. Again, I'm going to read them through. You've got your immediate family. So maybe you've got partner, 2 kids, or maybe you've just got 2 kids and a partner, whichever. You will like to spend a lot of time one-to-one with your children. You also like to spend a lot of time with friends. You don't want to categorize them as friends and family. You have it all separate. The wider family, so that could be auntie and uncle, grandparents, and so on. You might have a little bit of me time here, and then you've got voluntary or work. So some people might not work, but they might do a bit of voluntary or other kind of community-based things. All right. So that is another example. Now, the one that we're going to work with tonight is one that is a little bit of everything. And I'm going to show you. So we've got maybe their relationship's quite important, maybe not, but this is just an example. Me time, work, family, friends, health and well-being. So that's why I say it might take a little bit of time to decide what actually are my categories. And that in itself is a task, because you're really kind of sitting in this, it evolves. Every time I do an NLP life wheel, it's when I'm feeling overwhelmed, and it's when I feel that something needs to change and I don't know what. And these categories will change each time. So it's not a static document. Now, what you will see, it's hard when things are back to front here to get it right. You will see I've put a number and I've coloured it in. So what you do when you do your life wheel is you ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied am I in that area, right? That's why it's going to be a little bit abstract again. It's not like we're back in corporate here and we need something really specific. This is about asking yourself, on average, where am I? Okay. So what I've got here is, let's just say this person, on average, they find that their situation with their partner is a 4. Now, that doesn't mean they're unhappy a 4. It could. It could mean that they just don't see them enough, so it's a 4. That the love is still quite strong, but they just don't see them enough. Or it could be that they see them plenty, but the love is going down a bit. Or the quality of time they spend together. Okay, it's just an average. Only you know what that means. Now, you could break it down, couldn't you? But let's keep it simple. Give yourself an average number. Don't give it too much thought. Me time for this person is a 2. Okay, it's quite low. Work is an 8. It's quite high. Family is 4. Friends are 5. Health and well-being are 3. Okay, so as you can see, the wheel is not balanced, but the point of this is not to fully balance the wheel. Actually, one of the points of this is to understand that in life, it's never really going to be a perfectly round wheel. So let's not try and make that happen. Okay, this is to all of us, a reminder to all of us. So what you do with the life wheel is, once you've filled that in, you have to ask yourself and look at it and you go, wow, a little bit like last night. Okay, so now you know the areas that are maybe of concern. Once you categorize this and you ask yourself, you then say, right, what do I want them to be? Now, of course, the easy temptation is to go, well, I want everything to be a 9 and a 10. But do we? Do we really? So when it comes to friends, for example, it might be that you categorize that as 5 is because I've got some really good friends. Don't see them that often, but a 5 is where it's at, and I'm quite happy with that. You know, or it could be that your me time is a 2, but at the moment you've got quite a lot of work stuff going on, but you're happy with it and you're okay with your me time. Or you might look at that and go, that's not good enough for me. Now, everybody is different. As you say, there's no rights or wrongs. So nobody can tell you if 2 is good or if 2 is bad, right? That's it, Rue, right? So then you might be like, well, actually, if I could just increase one, we'll start with one, which one would it be? Now, looking at this, if this was my wheel, I would say, because it's important to me, I would increase my me time. Okay, because I know that if I increase my me time, it's going to impact positively on my health and well-being, positively on my partner. And they're like some of the lower scores, aren't they? So you have to ask yourself, right, what genuinely do I want this number to be? So I'm going to give you one I prepared earlier, the exact same wheel with my suggestions for this person. So let's just say I'm this person. And I'm like, right, I want me time to go from a 2 to a 6. I want my partner to go from a 4 to a 7. My work is fine. I'm fine with it at 8. Okay. In fact, if I look at all these other areas, my work will probably get better. Family, I'd like to maybe see them a bit more. So let's do 4 to a 5. Friends, we'll come back to friends. Health and well-being, I want it to go from a 3 to a 5. So it's nothing dramatic. Now, what I've put there is friends. Why has that gone down? Okay. Well, actually, what we need to do is we need to look at, if I want a bit more me time, something somewhere might need to give a little bit. Where is that going to be? Not necessarily, but it's something to consider when we do part 2 tomorrow in terms of how are we going to make this happen. Don't worry about that now when you're doing this. Don't start thinking limiting beliefs, barriers, and self-sabotage. Just ask yourself genuinely, what number do you want it to be? So if I increased, see, I've got 2 orange stars here. These are clearly the 2 most important ones for me. Why? Because if I list them down, I can see that there's a gap of +4 from where I need to be in terms of me time. There's a 3-point score difference between where the partner is now and where I want it to be. And by the way, if you list it as partner, you can also be talking about being single here. Okay, happier being single. I want to be happier, but still single. Okay, you categorize it how you want. Or I'm okay being single, but I'd like a relationship. You can decide what that means for you. Health and well-being. So this is the order based on the numbers. Okay, this is how you prioritize. And above everything, as predicted, is this me time. Now, tomorrow, what we're doing with this is we're actually going to do some techniques to prioritize, to brainstorm, and to figure out the hows. And I want you to be quite interactive tomorrow, even if you're watching on replay, to actually ask me, well, what would you do in this situation? So I want to give you an example before I leave you tonight. And the example is last January, it was lockdown, was it? Deep dark lockdown. And you know, everyone was working from home, and I had Isla, my partner, and it was really cold. You know, and it was like the only break we got was going for a walk, wasn't it? And I was just feeling really, really overwhelmed. And I was just like, I need some headspace. I need some silence. It doesn't even need to be anything specific. It doesn't need to be a class. It doesn't need to be, you know, sitting and doing a meditation. I just need some silence. I just need some time by myself. And that is actually at the top of my list when it comes to what does me time mean for me. And that's what we're doing tomorrow. What exactly are we talking about here? So I started to journal. I did my NLP life wheel and I looked at it and I was like, right, what it's looking like is I had exercise on my list. Exercise was really low. Silence and me time was really low. And it was impacting family and relationship. Okay. So I looked at it all and I analyzed it and I was like, right, so what needs to happen? And what I realized was simply going for one walk out of all the things in my life, out of all the different categories, because I'd done it this way, instead of feeling completely overwhelmed, like all the leaves on the tree that we were talking about yesterday, one thing needed to change in that moment. And of course, then we go up the positive spiral, don't we? And then things change and get better. Talking baby steps. One change needed to happen to impact so many other things in my life. And that was making sure that I went for my daily walk. And I know that a lot of you relate to this. But I was like, when am I going to do it? Isla's not at nursery. I get up and I feed her. I then get online. I do my work. I play with her. I give her TV for a little bit for a break. And then I feel like I have to play with her again. And it just felt constant. So this is tomorrow. I brainstormed. I was like, right, what are all the options that I could do? And I'll go through that tomorrow. But eventually, what I decided was I think it was about 3 o'clock every day, because before it got dark, I would go for my walk. And it made such a difference. My mood, my energy, my relationship with Isla, the family dynamic, everything. So why I'm telling you this is because, again, we often think we need to do massive things to make these big changes, these big transformations in our lives, but it's not. It's a little baby step, and that baby step turns into another one and another one, and so on. So yesterday we talked about the spirals, the downward spiral and the upward spiral. So once again, if you're interested in that concept, I'll try to put these blogs in at some point. Go online, go to the website, go to the online section, go to blog, and you'll find tips and techniques for anxiety. And there's a whole video in there about spirals and how to shift yourself from a negative spiral to a positive spiral. But hopefully you're getting there now, just kind of thinking about this, getting yourself there. You should also be really proud of yourself for turning up, for listening, and for actioning, for just being here, because it's the willingness to be willing. You've already made a shift. You've already made a decision in your head. Now it's just about very gently nurturing yourself, guiding yourself, and just little steps. Build your confidence, get the dopamine hits when you have your little goals. And then as the week goes on, you're like, oh my goodness, things have changed. And things will start happening in your world without you even realizing it, because you're vibing on a different frequency. Very gently. It's not this harsh, come on, you can do it. And like, forcing yourself, making yourself feel like crap. It's very gentle. It's a different energy. So for Aries, you'd like to increase the numbers, health and wellness, and exercise, partner and friends. So you see how that's a few different things. What you could do there is you could double up. You can exercise with friends and then go have a coffee afterwards. Or if you feel like because you want to go out with friends, that's something different, or what can you do? What can you do to combine some of these things? 2 birds with 1 stone. Brilliant. Yes, your fit commute to work before morning, Diana. No, I'm really impressed with that. I think it's brilliant. So is there anything else that I want to talk you through tonight? That's it, I think. So have you got any questions? Is there anything you want to go through? I hope you understand what the Life Wheel is all about. Have a go, draw it out. If you go onto the website, there's an 8 pie one that you can download, but you could just draw it out, scribble it, draw it out again, scribble it, draw it out again, keep scribbling. I love just jotting things down. When you feel like you've got the categories how you like them, then start to put the numbers in and fill it in. Then start to ask yourself, what do I want those numbers to be? Realistically, not all of them have to change, and some of them can come down. And then tomorrow we're going to go a little bit deeper into your top 3 priorities that you need to work on, especially your top 1. So have a really good think about this. Someone says, I think if I focused on one, the others would improve. That's it. Don't you find that it reduces your overwhelm, because you just sometimes feel like everything's such a blur and your head is so fuzzy and you just don't know where to start? And then you're like, I actually do know where to start. I just need to focus a little bit of time on me, get things a little bit structured, get rid of some self-sabotage, and off I go. No, so Marina, do you mean does it have to be the same headings in each wheel, or do you mean as the ones that I've shared? Diane says, I think I just need to tweak here and there and get a bit more balance. Yes, so I've shown you lots of examples. You categorize it however you want, but you will keep the same wheel for before and after. So you've got your numbers before and you've got your numbers after. You're most welcome, Rue. Oh, bless you. Yes, you're coming back. You're already in the right direction. That's it. Just making the choice to join means you're already on the right path. So maybe do it now, right? Or maybe as you're getting into bed, whichever feels right. And don't forget, you've got all week if you want to win those prizes. And often, as I said, not everybody fills in every answer right to the end, so you've got a good chance. As long as everything's there before 5 o'clock on Sunday, then I will be able to add you into the competition. So lots of lovely things to win on Sunday. And this is to help me motivate you. It's to help me to have you accountable by writing the things down, and B, to motivate you to keep going through it, okay? Because we all need motivation, don't we? So John says, a lot may change for me this year, so I will be more focused. Daughter, hopefully we'll be moving out, and fingers crossed. Yeah. A new chapter, a new transition, a new complex emotions around that, as always. Will I remind you? So I'll just keep reminding you every day on the post. So right after tonight, about 8:45, there will be a post that will say day 2. It will remind you of the task, and you'll just pop your answers in there and basically just give me your priority. Give me your top 3 priorities of what you'd like to change, or your top 1 priority. Then we're going to get deeper tomorrow. So what does that mean? What does that priority mean? What does it look like? How? When I was deciding to myself, I need a bit of silence and me time, how the hell can I do it? It's going to mean that I have to either get up at 6 o'clock or walk in the dark or go through working hours. One of them is going to be a solution. So when we brainstorm tomorrow, no idea is a stupid idea. You've got to let the creativity flow. It might not be the right answer, but if you block yourself on a brainstorm, you won't allow your higher consciousness to bring forward the right answer for you. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I will leave you there, everybody. Please keep asking me questions. I will check a bit later tonight. I will check again tomorrow when I can. I've got limited childcare this week, but I will try and get back to you as much as I can. Always a pleasure. Have a lovely, lovely evening, and I will see you soon. Bye, everybody. Bye. See you tomorrow.